We're back, ski to you all. We are once again live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K with some breaking news right after we finish our regular podcast. The minute our guy Cogs walks out of here, we get breaking news. So thank you guys for being here. Of course, it's PHNX D-Backs podcast. Your mayor, your dog, Garrett, Damon. We are thrilled to be talking about the Diamondbacks. Some news that just broke. James McCann, backup catcher of the team, but full-time catcher of my heart, is returning to the Arizona Diamondbacks, according to Nick Picoro, Ken Rosenthal, Steve Gilbert, and various reports out there. James McCann, sexy man James McCann, big body James McCann, returning to this team. Damon, we just talked about how the Diamondbacks have no choice but to address their backup catcher role. They needed somebody to back up Gabby. It was as imperative as them adding a starting pitcher almost. So it's great to see them bringing back James McCann after the season he had here with the Diamondbacks.
No doubt about it. And there's no doubt about Gabriel Moreno's injury problems that he's had, I think, in this lead up of his D-backs career. We all have incredibly high expectations for Gabriel Moreno for good reason. He's a fantastic young catcher. He's one of the better young catchers in the sport. But at the same time, you have to have a process and plan in place in case he is hurt again, not ready to go, needs another dental examination on game day. And James McCann is
You'll never forget that.
He's the perfect guy. He's the perfect guy for that because not only did he hit really well for the Diamondbacks in his short stint last season, but he's also just clearly got a good control of how he wants his pitchers to go on game days.
Right.
And the pitchers trust him. I think D-backs fans, he earned their trust all season long. And we're pumped up to have Sexy Arms Jimmy McCann back in the building.
It's just the fact that honestly, overall here, McCann provided the Diamondbacks with, like you said, a decent amount of offense. He slashed 260, 324, 431, 5 home runs in 42 games for this team. But he also was a veteran presence that the Diamondbacks, quite frankly, don't have. And a veteran presence at catcher. We know how important catcher can be. We know how the catcher is kind of an on-field manager for a team. We know that, like you said, we know that pitchers complimented James McCann constantly on his play calling behind the plate, something that Gabriel Moreno has seemed somewhat weak on. Jose Herrera also got complimented on his play calling, and that was one of the things that was brought up time and time again.
It seems like if every other catcher is being complimented for how they call the games instead of our primary catcher.
Yeah, right? Exactly. It does. And not only that, but again, it's the, consistency, bringing him back. He worked with Gabriel Moreno. He worked with this team. He was a glue guy. He's the same guy having great baseball conversations in the dugout and throwing sunflower seeds in people's hair, right? Like, he's just one of those guys that seems very good for this team. And they bring him back on a 1-year, $2.75 million deal, which doesn't have a huge impact on their available funds to spend this offseason and really just solidifies their catching core behind the plate.
Yeah, I mean, I love it, man. I think, the hitting aspect is something that out of every backup catcher, I think is always so iffy, right? Because most catchers in general are pretty bad hitters compared to the rest of Major League Baseball players. It's a position that
teams are willing to overlook, right?
100%.
Like, you're not doing that with a third baseman or a first baseman, but you're willing to overlook a catcher being great or having power if they are good behind the plate at what their job is to do, which is call a game and get guys out trying to steal bases.
There's a reason Cal Raleigh was such an anomaly this season, and it's because catchers do not hit the way that he did.
They don't hit 60 home runs. That's
not at all. That being said, backup catchers, play a lot more than essentially every backup player on the entire team. It is almost a 10th starter, I would argue, or a 9th starter if you're not going to count the starting pitcher. And it feels like he's going to get a ton of game time next year. So hopefully he can keep up what he did at the plate this season, because we all know that can kind of go a little bit more up and down. But I don't know how you couldn't be confident in his hitting over Jose Herrera's hitting, over John Ryan Murphy's hitting. Like, I don't even know. I'm going to start just naming
Father John Ryan Murphy, respectfully.
Random backup catchers
yeah.
that just could not hit for this organization.
No, absolutely.
We have one now that can.
And more importantly, even if he doesn't hit, you still love what he brings to this team behind the plate.
For sure.
And what he can do for Gabriel Moreno to just further his development. I feel like sitting under the learning tree that is McCann is beneficial for Moreno, and that is who is the true future for this team behind the plate. It's who we want to extend, it's who we want to be here for the foreseeable long haul. But again, there's lots of holes in Gabby's game still that he can get better at. Especially, again, calling Corbin Carroll his best friend as often as he does. I would love to see his best friend rub off on him a little bit and see Gabby pick up, the slack on some of the areas where he was not great last year, for sure. And I think James McCann is the kind of backup catcher that can not only provide you with that aspect, the backup catching aspect, but also that the learning that Gabriel Moreno can do while being a teammate with James McCann. Sorry, Cogs, who just left and missed the breaking news happening. I know it's certainly cruel.
Feels personal, Cogs.
It does feel personal.
The D-backs waited and okay, Cogs is off the show. Get the news out. Get the news out right now.
He's not out of the elevator yet. Wait till he gets on the elevator. I will say this though. It's amazing to think that James McCann wouldn't even be a part of this organization had it not been for Corbin Burns suggesting him and bringing him up to the front office, bringing him up to Torey Lovullo. Not only did he contribute in the way he did last year, but obviously he is valued here by this team to bring him back in 2026. And I love that. I love that. And I also love the fact that his bicep straps will be back. I hope in 2026 he adds Ultimate Warrior-esque tassels to them, maybe with some color and some flair. Mm-hmm. Let's sell some merch and make this amazing, James McCann.
I think that it's become clear here, Derek, that we need to get James McCann on this podcast on an interview, and we need to ask him what his arm routine is. Hey, James, good to have you here. We'll talk D-backs in this episode, but question number one, let's get down to business. What the hell is your arm routine?
Well, now that he signed with the Diamondbacks, I have a feeling that I'm going to make that exact thing possible. So
let me just say this, Derek. What in the world is happening with Zach Gallen now?
Yeah.
Who we all know loves James McCann. Is this the domino effect that brings Zach Gallen back to the Valley? You're just going to have to stay tuned on the PHNX D-Backs show.
The streets are saying that might be the one thing that makes Zach Gallen come back here to this team. Well, of course, we thank you guys for your time on this brief episode. We will be back on Monday to talk more about James McCann and more about this team. Until then, keep it locked to PHNX. Follow us on Twitter, Cap_Caveman with a K, Damon Dog, Bark, shows at PHNX_D-backs, but as always, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports. See you guys on Monday. Until then, have a wonderful weekend. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it is so much more fun when James McCann is your backup catcher.
We all silly like the mayor.